We have with us the Supreme Knight, Carl Anderson. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Good to be with you.
Yeah. Thank you.
It was a wonderful, wonderful address. Probably one of the highlights too is the extra effort in helping the Christian communities in the Middle East. And I wondered if you could talk a little bit about that and the commitment the Knights will be giving, not only charitable money-wise, but also to raise the awareness of what is going on.
Well, we did something in the fall, $3 million into mostly Iraq and some to the Holy Father for his use in that area. And we were hoping things would get a little bit better or other organizations would begin to step up. It's not enough. So as we were preparing for the convention, we decided we need to start enhancing our program. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue some national advertising. We're going to use Columbia to get the word out. And we're going to organize in the local level at the councils and try to have parish-based awareness, maybe donations at the parish level to help. And then we have Knights of Columbus charities. So we hope that people will be able to give through charities, which will be a tax deductible contribution. And so we'll continue, and we'll give them. We can't do everything, but we can do something. And I think even modest, what in the sense of government is a modest contribution, is important to people, gives them hope, and is something. So
I have to give people a little bit behind the scenes here. Now, you've just given a 90-plus minute address to a huge group of people. You're going around and being interviewed, not just with Catholic TV, but EWTN, the Catholic channel Salt and Light, and you still look fresh. That was your 15th time addressing the Supreme Convention, and you said something that, in the beginning, that struck me, that never have the Knights been stronger, never have they been more relevant, and I think that is the case, particularly in the stormy waters that we're in now.
Well, I think so, and it's a time. That's what's so great about being here in Philadelphia, because when you start thinking about the men who signed the Declaration of Independence and what they put on the line for liberty and freedom, and then you see some of our wounded veterans coming back, like Captain Avila, and all that he's gone through, you just say, well, what can I do that's worthy of what they've been doing, right? So it's a good motivator and a good point to reflect on, what our obligation is as a citizen and as a Catholic and as a faithful citizen.
And the numbers are always astounding, the number of dollars raised and for the many different charities and initiatives, the number of new members. I mean, I always think you put on an extra zero because they're just so astounding, but the Knights are growing, and we're grateful to be able to show that to people right here.
Well, I think too, Catholics have big hearts, right? And we just, love of neighbor is really important to us. And so when you see, it's what Pope Francis said, in his encyclical, we are all neighbors and we share a common home, right? And that's such fundamental Catholic view of the world. But if you have that, you act differently. And so Knights of Columbus is kind of an organized way to express that love of neighbor and acts of charity where you're working with people you know, and so you understand that what you donate in terms of your time or money is going to be used pretty well because you know the people who are going to make the judgments on it. So that's kind of the system, and it's worked pretty good for 133 years.
Don't quit now.
Earlier at the Mass, Archbishop Chaput said that this is the first chapter. We have a lot going on here in Philadelphia, the World Meeting of Families coming up. Of course, the Pope going to be here too, but the focus has been on the family. There's a vote of Mass of the family too, but I wondered if you could speak on that. It's a family atmosphere here, and the Knights are very strong for the family as well, and how important the family is as domestic church-wise as well.
Well, we're all aware of the recent developments in the law and in the society that are really going to put unprecedented pressures on family life. So how do you respond to it? Well, I think what we have to do first is protect our families, and protect our families by giving them a deeper grounding in the faith, in spirituality, all of us begin a greater integration into the sacramental life of the church and to enter our families into that and understand how within the family, the different members of the family are part of God's design as a gift to each other, right? So that's the whole point of building the domestic church program that we have, the Holy Family Icon program. We begin there. And then as we strengthen our families then can step out and be agents of evangelization through their witness primarily, because face it, we're in a time in which arguments mean less than actions. And the real question that people have is, okay, what you say is really interesting, but can you live that way? And does it fulfill your life? And do you have joy? And if the answer is yes, and people can see it, that's the best argument, right?
Yeah.
Many people have asked me, is it just coincidence that the Knights are here for, as the Archbishop said this morning, first chapter of the World Meeting of Families, or is this an act of God that all these events came together here in the Cradle of Liberty? Did you know that the World Meeting of Families was happening and you planned? No, it just happened.
Yeah, no, I think there's not a lot of coincidences when you're, a believer. So I think there's a lot of providential things that come together, and oftentimes you don't really realize it's providence until sort of after the fact, and then you look and say, wow, what happened? But we have to plan our conventions like 4 or 5 years ahead of time. So we didn't know he was coming, but we certainly are happy that he is, and maybe the convention is in a way to kind of give a little bit more of a boost to his visit and get people organized a little bit better. A lot of our members have been volunteers, that's for sure.
Sure.
And if you could just expand too on the Pope's visit here to America, maybe the after effects that you hope to see or you think will continue after he's left, and maybe spark some renewal for people here in America.
Yes, well, there's so many dimensions to it, right? Because number one, it's a pastoral visit. So what we hope is that it will pastorally lift up the Catholic community, especially in the United States, that we'll be more vibrant, we'll be more believing, we'll be more active, we'll be more charitable, we'll be more reconciling than when he came. One of the challenges will be, of course, a lot of people in the media, not here, but a lot of people in the media don't want to deal with that. Right? So they want to deal with, is he tired? Did he say something controversial? Is the Pope Mobile got windows in it or not windows? Is it a Mercedes? Is it, and that's all to the side, right? So that's what I hope. And I hope we get to know him better, and I hope that he gets to know us better. And I also hope that a lot of people listening to Pope Francis that had tuned out the Catholic Church previously. And so I think that's a great gift that he's giving us, that some people are listening. I hope they listen closely. I hope they listen to the entire message. And I hope they understand the motivation behind the message. And it's not one of confrontation. It's not one of a culture war. It's one of, we care really about you. And we think this path, the path that the Lord gave us, is really the path of human fulfillment. And so we think you ought to consider it seriously.
I have to tell you, I know you need to go, but while you're sitting here, I have to thank the Knights, and so I'm going to thank the Knights in the person of the Supreme Knight. There's a subset of us here, priests and bishops, who are very grateful for the support that the Knights give us. I've been a pastor in a parish, and I knew the Knights were always there as a turnkey organization to bring in men and families into the life and the charity of the parish. And I know that all of us here, priests and bishops, appreciate being in this building, being with all of our brothers, and knowing the support that we have, because these are some difficult times for all of us as Catholics. And I want to thank you for that and thank the Knights in your person.
Well, thank you for your vocation.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Sometimes we forget how important a priest is and how much he sacrifices. So thanks.
Well, thank you for being with us, taking the time to stop by, and we appreciate it. We wish you all the best in the next year. Hopefully, we'll see you again next year. And
Yeah,
be
hope
talking
so.
about the
We'll
great-
be in Toronto.
That'll be great.
Yeah,
It'll be
so-
great. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.